I'm driving back from a most satisfying football game. I saw Aaron Rodgers, who is admittedly not having a great year, but who's been one of my heroes ever since 2021 when he took a stand against the vaccine mandate. And today I saw Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets defeat the Jacksonville Jaguars in exciting fashion, and Aaron Rodgers was maybe not at the top of his game. He's an incoming Hall of Famer to be sure, but he made some incredible plays, and late in the game was able to architect a victory for the New York Jets over the Jacksonville Jaguars. And for me, it was like there was something that I took as in some way affirming about being there to see this happen, being there to see Aaron Rodgers, who again took this stand. He was one of the first and one of the few to take a very strong stand against the vax mandate, and spoke out in ways that I think that a few other athletes have. Rafael Nadal in tennis also gets a lot of praise for this, and there are probably some others whom I'm not thinking of right now, but most professional athletes just sort of rolled over and did what they were told. But not Aaron Rodgers, not soon to be in the Hall of Fame Aaron Rodgers. So his victory today over the Jacksonville Jaguars was a righteous episode for me to behold. Well, with that prelude aside, I guess I wanted to talk about something that I don't think I have to talk about, but it's one of those things that everybody's buzzing about it, and so I think I might as well throw my hat in the ring and say what I have to say about it. Now, this girl, Lili Taylor is her name, not to be confused with the actress Lili Taylor, fine actress who was in the movie I Shot Andy Warhol, which was directed by Mary Harron, who later directed American Psycho. And she's been in a lot of other stuff. She's really good. I like her a lot as an actress. But we're not talking about that Lili Taylor. We're talking about Lili Taylor of OnlyFans. Some girl who's on OnlyFans and who in the last few days did this marathon of sorts where she did 100 men in a row in 24 hours on the one after the other. I'm sure you've heard about this. So it's caused a big controversy. People are talking about it. Very few people, interestingly, even feminists who are in the main all about being quote unquote sex positive, and who are in favor of quote unquote sex work for women. Even they, it seems, don't think that this was a good thing. Don't seem to think that it was a good thing that Lili Taylor did this. And it was a big setup. She talked about doing it, and then presumably she got 100 guys who were willing to be, to be among the number. do, and then she did 100 guys, and then afterwards she supposedly broke down. But yeah, so but she broke down, and that was sad. And I mean, I think it's sad. I find it sad. I find the whole thing sad and disgusting, but sad also. I find it sad that she did this. I find it sad that people allowed her to do this. I find it sad that men volunteered to take part in this. I disapprove of every single one of them, and I also am sad about it. So I'm sad and disgusted by everything about this whole incident. But her breaking down and crying afterwards didn't seem to be dissuade her from thinking that this was a good idea, because she's supposedly working up to doing 1,000 guys sometime soon, and that's going to break her record. It seems that a record has already been held. I don't know where they list these kinds of records. Do the Guinness Book of World Records still exist? It seems like they would be compiled in some other way. And I don't know if the Guinness Book of World Records talks about stuff like this. Anyway, so the current record is supposedly 917. Oh my gosh. Which, all right, 100 is terrible. 917 is, or 1,000. It's just unfathomable. But she wants to do it, and she's gearing up to do it. So we're supposed to, according to feminists, we're supposed to hate the men. We're supposed to be down on the men who took part in this. They were exploiting her. Yeah. Just the men. We're supposed to be down on them. But with her, and not just it seems that the feminists think this way, but also some traditionalist women also feel this way, like she's just a sad case. She's somebody who obviously her wiring's not crossed right. She maybe was abused or something like that. I don't know. Although I don't think, from what I've heard, I don't believe there's evidence of abuse or talk of there being abuse. And from what I hear, this girl, Lily Taylor, comes from some wealthy family in London. Intact family with a mother and a father. And I don't know. Like, if you're a parent, you don't. It's unfathomable to think we'll let her do that. If you're a father, if your daughter's going to say, I'm going to do this, you do something about it. I mean, I'm not blaming the father exclusively. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not absolving her from her actions either, but damn. Like, you gotta do something. Take some radical step, just take her, throw her in the back of a car and drive her somewhere. I don't know. Do what you have to do. Of course, I guess that would qualify as kidnapping, wouldn't it? It'd be taking somebody against her will, and she's an adult, so yeah, I know. I just can't see standing by and letting that happen. If you're a father, if you're a mother, especially if you're a father, though, letting your daughter do that to herself is just it's unfathomable to me. Now, as far as being the men who decided to be part of this, I have to say I don't have any well, I mean, it's not just that I don't have any sympathy for them. I mean, I think that they agreed to be part of something that is an awful thing and is disgusting and terrible. So I'm not letting them off the hook either, but I would also say that I don't get it. I don't get it. You want to have sex with a girl. That I get. Okay. Maybe you want to have sex with a girl, and you don't care that she's not into you. You just want the sex. I get that. And maybe you'll sleep with a girl, maybe a prostitute or an escort or somebody who has had a lot of experience with other men, and but the idea that the same day. I mean, God, like if you're even fairly early in the order, if you're guy 23, that means 22 other guys have just been with her. And I don't want to get too graphic or too gross, but you know what I'm saying here. You get what I'm saying. They've left certain things behind, and now that's where you are. You're going into a place where 5 minutes ago, 5 or 10 minutes ago, somebody else was depositing something there within this person, and now you're going to be like that doesn't break your mood at all. I mean, that doesn't make you go flaccid. Like, I can't even, like, you've seen things in movies about, like, guys, I can't remember, but, like, it seems like there have been war movies or whatever about guys, with taking turns with a local prostitute, and so there's like 5 or 6 of them, and then they all go in one at a time, and like, even in that, like, if you're the third guy, okay, that's like, ugh. She hasn't washed herself. She hasn't, I mean, not thoroughly. So, I mean, it's not, of course, it's not just hygiene, though. It's so much about the situation that is unnatural. So then I started thinking, what if it was a guy who said, I'm gonna do 100 girls. I'm gonna have sex with 100 girls in a day. What would we think of that? That would be just as disgusting, just as depraved. I would disapprove of it just as much, and I think that women who would be willing to be part of it would be, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you can disassociate so much unless you're a porn actor. I guess that's what you have to do if you do porn, because it's just not the way that you're supposed to be. It's not the way this act is supposed to be. Like, I mean, of course, I think I believe in wedlock, and I think sex belongs within wedlock and should not exist outside of wedlock. But even if you're talking about people, having more casual sex, usually, like, it's one guy one night, or one girl one night, and then maybe a few nights later, somebody else, right? And then maybe a couple weeks later, somebody else. So it's still cumulative, and there's something about the cumulativeness of it that is not good. The so-called body count. You don't want to have a body, quote unquote, body count. No matter who you are, man or woman. Having a high body count is not advisable. And yeah, I know I know I'll hear from people who say that they're incels and say like things like, well, I would never have that problem. Well, okay, yeah, all right. I get that there are people out there who are struggling. I get that, but regardless of that subject, there's body count, meaning like a bunch of people spaced out over weeks or months or years. And in that case, it's not good, not because of the quantity of it. Because if you're married and you have sex a lot, you could presumably have sex every night with your husband or wife. I mean, that's a lot of the same body, but it's you're still racking it up as far as times that you've done it. But it's the altering from one person to another person, to another to another person, and so on and so on and so on. That's where so it's not about the amount of times. It's about the amount of people, of different people. So I think that if it were a guy, we would, with trying to get with 100 women, there's obviously certain physiological matters that would make that more difficult. Without getting too graphic, you don't. But with that in mind, though, how do you? I know it's much easier to get and remain wet than it is to get and remain hard, especially after ejaculation. I guess I am getting somewhat graphic here, so sorry about that. But it's got to be done, I guess. But how do you make your vagina hospitable to a man after you've been with a ton of other men in the same day? Don't you just start to think? Don't you just start to feel like, I don't want this anymore? How how do you stop yourself from drying up? This is an honest question. How does that happen? How do you do that? Does it? I mean, yeah, I know there are things you can apply to your genitalia, but is that going to work? I mean, it just seems like after the first few times, I can't understand how her her genitalia wasn't just, you know, wasn't just dry and you know, it's very hard to navigate a dry vagina. It's very painful. So I don't know. How does that work? Is it just a question of disassociating? Can you stay wet, for lack of I'd put it more delicately if I could, but I can't think of another way to put it. Can you stay wet if you just forget what you're doing? If you're able to disassociate, can your womb, so to speak, remain accessible in that way? And I didn't even start to wonder about that until I turned it around and started wondering about if it was a guy trying to do this, if it was a guy with 100 girls. I would have to say, to me, it would still be as disgusting. I would not see it differently. As far as the people involved, as far as even though there are physiological differences and there are differences as far as if you're a man, you know, finding women who are willing to be with you is a more difficult task unless you're in the top echelon of men. Like, all that is true, but I just it would be interesting. Well, it would be interesting to see how that would get construed. If a man tried to do that, I don't want to be flippant about this because I think this is all very disturbing. But there's some things about it you can't help but you have to laugh, you have to chuckle, you have to giggle about some things. You just have to laugh or you'll cry, you know, about the state of our world. So anyway, those are my thoughts, somewhat random, somewhat you know, I don't know if there's really a thread that connects any of them, but I do welcome anyone's input. That might be an unfortunate word to use here, but you know what I mean. I welcome your comments. Please leave them.